Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today I'm going to be taking a first look at Vietnam 65. It's a new game out, being published by Slitherine and Matrix Games. The game, as you can guess, focuses on the Vietnam War, although it's a pretty abstract game. The maps are random, so it's not like you're fighting over historic towns and villages. It's supposed to be set in the Ai Valley, so the terrain isn't swampy and whatnot. It's kind of the central highlands of Vietnam, if you want to know what the terrain looks like. Pretty accurate terrain would probably, from my understanding, be looking at the movie We Were Soldiers. It's a very basic interface in this game. You've got an options menu, but really it's the credits and the volume. You've got a uniform, which is kind of the high scores. I played the game once and got my my ass kicked, so we'll see how the second video goes. You've got a training, which is probably something I should have done in my stream a little while ago. But that's basically two tutorials. You've got a basic and an advanced, a load, and a new game option. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump right in and start a new game. I'm not going to break the live stream up because honestly it was a disaster and I was kind of clicking my way through and not really sure what I was doing. It was a lot of fun, but it wasn't something I was terribly proud of. I actually ended up bombing my own troops. Yes, you can do that. I didn't realize my troops were in a village and I called an airstrike down on it. So that'll give you an indication on how the game went. You can see here the map, as I said, it's randomly generated. It's filled with a group of towns that kind of fill up the map. You get activity reports every turn, and then you get casualty reports as well of where you're at. Hearts and minds, you want to gain the hearts and minds of not your subjects, but of the South Vietnamese. So you can see here, initial intel suggests that all of these towns are friendly. Don't believe those reports. They're not. Yeah, so basic interface here, you can go next unit, previous unit, end turn, go to HQ, call in emergency supplies. You can also call in airstrikes, but they're limited, so be careful with them. And you can go to the intelligence map. Up here at the top is the political support. You want to keep that high in order to be able to purchase new units and bring in troops, so that it kind of symbolizes America's willingness to fight back home. And then you've got the hearts and minds meter, which, you know, the higher it goes, the better you're doing. You can start here at your home base. You can see we've got a main base, and we've got several Hueys, Green Berets, infantries, howitzers, and that's where we're at right now. So there's likely not too many enemy troops in here. It looks like there's one kind of grouping of towns all linked together by a highway, which would be really convenient and nice to advance along. Meanwhile, in the middle, you've got a whole bunch of towns and cities strewn throughout some rougher terrain. And don't try and move through these forested areas, these jungles, because they take forever. It's supposed to encourage you to use your helicopters for transport, realistically, I suppose. What we are going to do, we do start with a Green Beret unit, and those can be very useful because Green Beret units can actually raise ARVN units, South Vietnamese troops. They're the only troops that can train ARVN troops, so it's certainly a useful thing to be able to do. Now, rather than do what I did in my live stream and march troops out across the open ground like an idiot, which I am, I'm going to go ahead and learn my lesson and deploy troops via helicopter here. So I'll just pick these guys up,
Inbound to LZ.
pick them up there, and then I'll fly them toward this village. I don't think I can land them directly in the village, but I can land them next to the village. Now, I'm banking on the fact that there shouldn't be too many enemy units around yet, because the game did just start. So we drop these troops in, and we'll just move them into that village, and we'll prepare an ambush here.
Unit moving out.
So we'll leave these guys next. We're going to prepare an ambush next turn, I suppose, near the village. No intel from the town. Not surprising. There probably isn't too much intel available right now. Meanwhile, before I move them anywhere, we're going to check out our howitzer unit, which can provide fire support. It's got a pretty limited fire support radius and an end map location. So the next actually I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up these guys. I'm going to pick up Green Berets. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these Green Berets over here, kind of in the middle of the map, if you will, closer to the middle of the map anyway. And we're going to deploy them. Oh, shoot. I'm stupid. Green Berets can't do that. Well, I'll deploy them here anyway. So we're going to deploy them here. We're going to set up a fire base here very shortly. I'm just getting my troops kind of in line. And then what we're going to do, we're going to purchase an engineer unit. They can build fire bases. And we're going to drive these guys out this way. And there. So you can see we used up some fire some political points by purchasing that. Also, it does appear that when you move into a village, you do gain political points. So there's that. And we've got one more Huey with troops on board. I guess we can just move them up north here, maybe to this village. It seems that's kind of overextending a bit. Actually, probably better bet would be to see about picking up this village, because once we build our fire base here, it'll be able to provide fire support all around. So that's what we're going to do right now. You know, I think that just about does it. We could move these guys via land, but we'll just keep them in our main base for now until our choppers get back. Did I really have an engineer unit that I just didn't see? Well, that's lovely. Okay, so apparently I had an engineer base that I just wasn't paying attention to, because I'm smart like that. And you can move up here. You can build roads with engineers, but I find the fact that it takes a turn to build a road, just one hex worth of a road, a little bit off-putting for actually using them. It just doesn't seem to be all that practical to use them in that sort of a situation. Anyway, so our Hueys are going to start flying back. These guys are still carrying guys. And then these Hueys next turn will start carrying these guys to this middle-of-nowhere town surrounded all by jungles and villages. Certainly would be a place I'd want to hold against the NVA, because it'd be a nightmare to get to. So if I can get to it before the NVA or VC can, that'll be a good thing to do. So we'll go ahead and end the turn. The only unit that hasn't acted yet is artillery, so that's fine. You can see here on the map, we're just getting started. The NVA has 2 VC units and 1 NVA unit. So NVA stands for North Vietnam Army, just regular units. 2 VC cadets, no casualties so far. We can also turn on these contacts reports. So far, no reports of enemy contacts between, I don't know if it's just us or who, but no reports of contacts. Move these guys for this engineering unit. And we're going to move this engineering unit this way. I think I'm going to maybe try and clear these forests and build a fire base in here as well. It seems like it would be ideally located. We'll drop these troops here. And now these troops will move into this village.
Unit moving to coordinates. New intel report.
So you can see here, by taking this village, the locals have been cooperative with us, and they have told us that there's an enemy VC unit up north here. Now, I don't have any way to hit that unit directly, but if we look at the intel map, we can see there's only 3 enemy units on map right now, 2 VC, 1 NVA. So it means there's not too much of a risk if we destroy it of enemy units overrunning us anytime soon. So I'm going to use the 1 airstrike we have, and I'm going to drop it down on these guys. And you can see that we destroyed it, and we gained some political points for doing that. Quite a few, actually. And now if we look here, the enemy only has 1 VC unit left and 1 NVA unit left. So that was simple enough. That was an effective airstrike, but you only get 1 airstrike every 5 turns, and airstrikes don't always destroy the enemy unit that you're intending to destroy. Sometimes they don't even destroy their own units. You can bomb yourselves, so don't do that. Anyway, so now kind of begins the point of flying these choppers back to base, because they do use supply, and that is one thing that I found really enjoyable about this game, is the fact that supply really plays a really big role in this game. It's an important thing. We're going to leave these green berets here, I suppose. These guys can move through forests a little bit better, or through jungle a little bit better. But I think we'll build a fire base here. Oh, apparently we can only build here because there's rice paddies here. But we're going to build a fire base probably next turn, and I think that's just about all we can do here. I think the only unit we haven't moved is artillery. I guess these guys could set up an ambush. Can I ambush adjacent to villages?
Unit moving to coordinates.
I already knew that last turn, right? Alright, so the only unit that hasn't moved yet is artillery. You can see you generate supply at your main base. I've mentioned supply being important, but we haven't actually seen it in play yet. You can see this helicopter unit was out of supply, though we're in low supply. So moving around uses supply, I believe. We'll see here. Maybe not.
Unit moving to coordinates.
But anyway, this unit is moving to build a fire base. They're going to build it right here, so it'll be right between where all of our troops are kind of located. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to airlift my artillery over here so that we can have better fire support or what have you. Now, you can see the enemy raised 3 more VC units this turn. And if we look at VC contacts, still it looks like the only contact that we had was up here.
Unit moving to coordinates.
I think I'm going to build a fire base in here as well. Fire bases can be attacked and overrun, just be aware of that. But we'll build a howitzer. And we're going to build a Green Beret unit. So a couple of expensive things that we just built, but if I'm going to build another fire base, I need some troops nearby. I'm going to build a fire base, and then I'm also going to build a
Unit moving to coordinates.
like a forward operating base, if you will, and that's where you can train South Vietnamese troops, is in one of those forward bases. So that's going to be my goal here. I might need, I think I'm going to load up some infantry, because you need infantry to kind of patrol different territories, but you also need infantry to defend those bases, because they can be attacked and they can be overrun. So we're going to drop these guys down here.
En route.
I feel like this is an easier map setup, but see, if you click that, you can train them, but you gotta select a forward base to do it at. And again, we're gonna build a fire base here.
Constructing fire base.
All right. Fire base.
Constructing fire base.
I guess I gotta move there, and we can't move. Okay, so that just about does it for that turn. You can see we got a glimpse of some North or South Vietnamese, or NVA troops moving north. But we're gonna build that fire base here right now. The engineer unit doesn't turn into it, though, so that's good. All right, so we got the fire base. We'll move those troops in there. They do gain some.
Requests resupply. Unit moving to coordinates.
So our helicopters can actually now fly out of our fire base, which gains a supply. And one of these helicopters here can move one of our artillery units. Remove this howitzer
Moving
unit.
to LZ.
So it'll drop down there, and we can bring the howitzer unit to this fire base. So now we can extend our fire support. So you can see here as we click on it, this fire base has quite a bit. Now we've got this entire range covered with artillery. And then at our original base, we've got this area, but I don't think that's all that useful, so I'm going to build another fire base. Oh, but apparently I can't build another fire base. What? Well, I can build the other thing I was talking about. I can build a forward operating base.
Forward base.
So there we go. So we build that forward base, move them in here, and they're going to train some friendly local units or what have you. So I didn't know there was a fire base limit. I wonder if you're limited to one per turn, maybe building, or maybe it's I don't know if they cost money, maybe, or I'm not sure. But we'll resupply these guys. You can see their supplies getting down. If their supply gets too low, that'll turn red, and then the turn after it turns red, they will just die. So you can see our Green Berets have moved into this town. Yeah, so that's where we're at here. Well, and the turn, we can see if we look here, they still only have 4 units, so they haven't started expanding too much more. All right, so there we got another enemy unit here. It's now right adjacent to this unit of ours in a town which is low on supply. But you can see we can call in an artillery strike. We've got an 80% chance of hitting these VC cadres. If we click the strategic map, we'll notice the VC apparently only have 2 cadre units being used and 2 NVA units. So I don't know if the NVA units can become cadre units or not. Meanwhile, our political support has dropped down to 49%. But we'll go ahead and use this artillery to call in a strike on those troops, and they missed. You can see they hit here, or maybe they hit but they didn't destroy them. I'm not quite clear on that because it looked like it hit the same hex they were in. But as it is, the enemy's pulled out from that area. I'm going to resupply these troops. We'll fly the helicopter back. And we'll use this guy to resupply these. Because again, you don't want to be running around without supply. That's a bad deal. Don't do that.
Unit en route. Unit requests resupply.
And this unit is low on supply, so we're just gonna, I think it's carrying something actually. But
dropping cargo.
Okay. So, we didn't destroy that unit. That was kind of disappointing. I could go after him.
Unit en route.
No, I don't see him anywhere. Lovely. Alright, so we can now build... We can build a whole bunch of forward bases, but we can only build one supply base, apparently. Huh, that's lame. Engineers move pretty darn well, interestingly enough. I think I'm going to pull the Green Berets out, because I need to train more armor. Oh, no, I clicked the wrong button. The interface is easy to click the wrong thing. I guess that's one thing that's a little bit frustrating, but we'll build another forward base somewhere. We don't really have any room to build it anywhere. I guess we can build it over here.
Setting up forward base.
That's a really forward base, though. Anyway, so we can build those all around us, and again, if we keep them in range of our artillery, hopefully we'll have more effective strikes than
Carrying
the
out
last
existing
one.
orders. Some units have no orders.
So we can see here the enemy now has 3 Cadre units and 3 NVA units. We look at our report so we can see every place we've ever seen them, so it kind of gives you an intel on where maybe you want to look, where you want to kind of go after them.
Moving out.
We'll move them back into the village. I'm being very cautious
Moving out.
with my troops because I had such a horrible time last time. Refuel vehicle, clear jungle. Clearing jungle also costs points,
Unit en
so
route.
I didn't really need a second unit. Well,
Carrying out existing orders. Some units have no orders.
so the enemy continues mobilizing. They've still got 3 and 3. They've got 6 units. We still haven't lost any casualties, but we are starting to lose the hearts and
Setting up
minds of the
forward
people.
base. Setting up forward base.
Again, I don't want to just start marching around trying to claim cities, because that is kind of the recipe for disaster, or so I've experienced. So our fire base can, again, it receives its own
Resupply
supplies.
mission commenced.
So with the exception of artillery, which does run out of supply on its own,
Unit
and you have to go
en
back to your main base to get artillery ammunition.
Setting up forward base.
Come on, I'm going to start moving my, actually, I'm going to, I'm going to go, but these guys aren't in a field. Alright, we'll move them.
Unit moving
I'm
out.
going to move my Green Berets into this new forward base that I'm going to build, and we'll...
Arvin unit deployed.
Alright, so now
Resuming
I have an
mission.
Arvin unit here. Perfect, so we've got a South Vietnamese Army unit now on map. So
Some
basically it's a
units have
free
no
unit
orders.
that you get, just because.
Unit requests resupply. Unit moving to coordinates. Unit moving to coordinates.
So we're going to go ahead and pick these guys up.
Inbound LZ. Unit moving to coordinates.
Base isn't ready for you yet.
Setting up forward base.
Why are we not able to set it up there? Do we not? Do you need... Oh, you need 1,000 political points? Damn. Well, that's going to be difficult to muster.
Resupply mission commenced.
Alright.
Unit is under
No, RPG fire.
Units are taking casualties.
How fucking far can they run? They just ran that... Oh my god, they run around the map.
Unit moving out.
You can see here you don't lose a unit when it first takes casualties, but you do lose it if it takes casualties twice. Good god, those guys booked it. That's one thing that I think some people might find frustrating with this game, is the fact that the enemy that you're fighting, they don't play by the same rules when it comes to... how do I say this? They don't play by the same rules when it comes to movement. You know, they
Unit
can
moving out.
move around the map kind of freely,
Unit moving
as
out.
much as they really want. So what I'm gonna do with these Green Berets now, or this engineer unit for that matter. I suppose I can move them down to this village and see what's up down there.
Some units have no orders.
I'd drop an airstrike
Unit
down
is
there.
under RPG fire. Our units are taking casualties. Unit en route.
So you can see our engineers there took some casualties.
Egressing LZ. Our choppers are taking RPG fire. Our units
It would
are
be
taking
nice if you could
casualties.
take
Unit
fire
en
without
route.
necessarily getting hit.
Egressing
You know,
LZ.
like, the one thing I think is a little bit frustrating with the game is that it doesn't simulate the fact that helicopters
Unit
almost
en
never
route.
are going to get hit if they're in the process of, in the middle of movement. You're not going to take
Unit en
casualties.
route. Contact.
All right, so our Green Berets can see further away than our regular infantry, and that's a NVA infantry unit. So what we're going to do is we're going to call an airstrike
Call in air
down
support.
and wipe them
All
out.
clear in
There
this
you
sector.
go. So that was a big success there. Won us a whole lot of political points. We knocked out an NVA unit, which is much more effective than just regular infantry or regular VC units. So that was a big success. we're going to go ahead and resupply these guys in this village. You really aren't going to get enough political points probably to keep guys in villages all the time. So that's one thing. Meanwhile, this Arvin unit's still kind of sitting here. Just not sure what I want to do with it. I guess I don't really have much of an alternative. I think we're going to move it forward. So we'll tell them to go pick up these Arvin troops.
Inbound to LZ.
And we're going to move them here.
Unit en route.
Not going to move them directly into the town,
Egressing
because that's just a
LZ.
recipe for getting wiped out without spotting anything.
Unit moving
Arvin
out.
troops do a better job of...
Training new unit.
Arvin troops do a better job of getting information out of towns, which is a key aspect of the game. You know, you want to find where the enemy units are. And so far we've lost a few casualties, but we keep in mind that, you know, when the helicopters get hit
Some
or when
units
troops
have
get
no
hit, they don't
orders.
actually die the very first turn they get hit. So you can see here this unit needs to pull
requests
back to get some supply.
Unit moving out.
Meanwhile, we can move these guys into this
en route.
village.
No new intel.
No new intel. So we moved into the village. We didn't gather any intel, which
Unit
sucks.
en
But
route.
I think now what we're going to do is we're going to take these... yeah, okay. So we're going to pick up these
Moving to
infantry.
LZ.
And I think we're going to move them this way. I
Unit
try and
moving
avoid
coordinates.
using infantry that is taking
Unit
casualties
moving out.
when we're looking at moving troops around, because if you take casualties
Unit moving to
in a
coordinates.
helicopter and the helicopter's already taken casualties, then the helicopter gets shot down. Hopefully this road up here in the north will allow us to move troops back and forth pretty easily. Actually, now that we've got 1,000 political
Setting up
points, we can
forward
build
base.
a new forward base
Carrying out
if we
existing
maintain
orders.
that.
Some units have no orders.
Which we didn't. We lost those political points here. The enemy has enough units now so that we start losing political points every turn. Where those units all are is kind of a mystery at this point.
Unit moving out.
really haven't seen.
Encountered minefield. Our units are taking
Another good
casualties.
idea is to avoid certain areas.
Unit en route. Unit en route. Contact.
Now here's a problem. We've got our Green Berets out here, but they're way beyond artillery support range. We don't have any air support, and the enemy has 2 units up here, which we aren't going to have much success fighting.
Unit en route.
So we detected those enemy units, but
Data
probably
resupply on this
probably
unit
best to
ASAP.
pull out.
Unit moving out. Unit requests resupply.
Meanwhile, I think
Unit
we'll go ahead
moving
and
out.
drop these guys here.
Air cav en route.
Air cav.
Unit moving to coordinates.
Okay. So we're gonna resupply these guys.
Embarking supplies.
Again, I'm not sure why you can drop supplies into a forested area, but you can't do anything with troops, but whatever. QE's expended its movement points. These guys can
Unit
move in this
en route.
village.
VC spotted. New
VC
intel
spotted,
report.
nice. So the VC was not in a ambush position, so we can attack
Unit
him.
en route.
No, we can't, because they're out of their movement points. Lame. But we can attack them with artillery, because they're just inside range of artillery. See how that helps having that fire
Fire
base there.
support inbound.
There you go.
Target
So the
eliminated.
artillery was able to eliminate that enemy unit, and our engineer units are kind of not able to move at all. But that destruction helps, knocks the enemy down 1. They're down to 5 VC cadre units and 2 NVA units, and they have 1 NVA base somewhere. Yeah.
Unit moving to coordinates.
So I'm not quite sure how enemy units are recruited, but yeah, anyway. So we're going to go ahead and end the
Arvin
turn.
unit deployed. Carrying out existing
Another
orders.
Arvin unit.
Unit
We're going to
moving
move it in on
coordinates.
this town. We may pull these guys back to try and just keep them out of the front line, because once they've lost casualties,
Some
if you
units have
lose
no
them again,
orders.
then they die. You can see here more enemy units are detected. We don't have any air support, but we do
Ammo
have
level
artillery.
critical.
It's
Fire
almost out of
support
ammo.
inbound.
So there you go. Artillery does not always hit
Target
target, as we saw up here
eliminated.
again, but it can be incredibly useful in a situation like that, where we obviously were able to call it in and utilize it successfully. Now the thing is, artillery does run out of ammo. It gets 3 shots per supply, and the only way to resupply it is by pulling back to your main base. I'm thinking, since we're starting to see quite a few enemy units here, what we may want to do is we may want to pull our artillery all into this fire base. So we've got 2 of them, so we can launch 2 fire missions per turn. I think that'd be useful. So these guys are pulling up that artillery. Meanwhile, all of our new units do have to come through our original bases. I don't think Green Berets gain intel. They do not. So Green Berets don't gain intel from pulling into a base.
Setting up forward base.
But now we can use those political points to set up a forward base, where we could pull our units back into and what have you. Now we're low on supply for 2 units. These guys can move still. These guys can move, but we're low on supply. We've got 2 air supply units we can drop in. They do cost political points. So we dropped 1 in on this unit. This unit didn't get any, but it should be able to get supply next turn. So, yeah. You know, these guys can just pull back to the fire base. I do want to get some guys into this village, though. I'd like to know what the fire symbolizes. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it symbolizes support for you or against you.
Unit moving out.
So moving out, moving back in, raises the U.S. flag over this facility. Interesting. We still don't have our air units, though, and these guys are still well beyond our artillery support range, unfortunately.
Unit moving to coordinates. Unit moving out. Encountered minefield.
God damn it.
We've lost a unit.
Stupid Arvin.
Training Arvin. Need a resupply on this unit ASAP.
So we just lost a unit because we walked it over a road and they got hit by a minefield. These guys, meanwhile, are going to die if we don't. This is that red I was talking about, this red square. Essentially, they die if they don't get supply, but we just pulled them into a base, so that base will supply them. Meanwhile, we're going to supply these guys via air.
Unit en route.
With that chopper. And our 1 chopper unit. I'm not sure which. Oh, these guys are bringing ammo.
Unit en route.
To our artillery, which is more or less out here.
Artillery resupply mission commenced.
And the other unit is carrying new artillery to this fire base. There you go. Meanwhile, I am keeping my Green Berets up here. Doesn't give us a very good chance of killing the enemy. Only 45% to enemy RPG units. But it does at least give us a chance to kind of have eyes on our enemy. So we'll kind of pull out here a little bit toward this base so we can look at maybe starting to train more Arvin troops in this area. And I think that just about does it for this turn. We've got these troops moving forward. Yeah, so here we are. We can see negative 250 per turn. The enemy still has 7 units and 1 base. Detecting that base would sure be nice, but we'll have air support inbound next turn. So
need a resupply on this unit ASAP. Unit moving to coordinates.
So now that we saw that enemy RPG, we can drop bombs on them and knock them out.
Unit en route.
So we did destroy 1 more enemy unit, so they're up to 4 NVA units, but the VC units are losing heavily, and I didn't even see that. That was stupid of me.
Need a resupply on this unit ASAP.
I don't know if you get a defensive bonus if you're in a forward base, but I'm gonna
We've lost a unit.
Apparently that was dumb. I'm dumb. I should have used my airstrike on them. See, it's an example of not paying attention and that hurting you, because that enemy unit just wiped out our engineers. Which I guess right now doesn't matter a whole lot.
Unit moving out. Intel on RPG location.
So we just detected an enemy RPG. Fucking minefields all over these roads. You know what I didn't even think about was my artillery, because... Oh, no, it's out of range. Never mind, wouldn't have mattered. So... Yeah, now I'm starting to get out of range of my artillery, so that's going to be an issue.
Unit en route.
Now, I don't think ARVN or NVA units basically act like
Moving to
artillery.
LZ.
Or, I don't think they can shoot down helicopters. I could be way wrong there.
Unit moving to coordinates. Egressing LZ.
Oh,
Our
fuck.
units are taking casualties.
Drop
Moving
'em.
to LZ.
What happens next time? Tune in next time on The Historical Gamer at YouTube. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Sorry about that being a little bit weird and random there at the end. This is a video, I think that'll end up probably being about 3 or 4 parts. The game lasts generally about 2 hours. Definitely going better this time around, but I'm going to cut the video off here. My viewers tend to watch longer form content. You know, at least I tend to get pretty good retention on my views. You know, 10 minutes or videos, 10 minutes or so, not being uncommon. But I am going to cut it off there at about 30 minutes here. I'll have another video up in maybe a day or two. I'm trying to put a video up every 2 days. So if you enjoyed it, please keep on watching and let me know what you'd like to see different. The campaign is played all the way through, so at least in this next video. You won't next video or 2 or 3. You won't be able to influence me. But if maybe I do another live stream or something like that, definitely let me know. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying again, thank you for watching, and I'm out.